Hey guys, what's going on? Just wanted to make a video talking about my experience at the Daytona 500 in 2007. It was a video that I had thought about making, but then this is kind of a shout out to the Jim Bay one. He commented on one of my NASCAR videos, and it reminded me I never made this NASCAR video that Daytona 500 video that I had thought about. And I was like, you know what, now's a good time to do it because next week is the Daytona 500. So it'll give me a week to put the video up ahead of time. Maybe people Google or YouTube search, Daytona 500. And I can talk a little bit of my experience about when I went to it in 2007. It's a really good experience. I really recommend not even necessarily going to Daytona 500 because I know that's one of the more expensive ones and it's the harder ticket to get and stuff like that because it's the first race of the season. It's kind of like quote unquote their Super Bowl, but it actually happens beginning of the season rather than the end of the season. So I went in 2007, and I have some stuff to show you from that day, and I'll talk about it. I'll kind of show. This is kind of just when you walk around, like when you go to any event, maybe an outdoor event. They have a whole bunch of vendors trying to just hand out stuff. A lot of it you'll see is going to be from either, car companies. This I think, yeah, I'm not sure if that belongs on there. If it just ended up sticking there. Actually, it probably does since it kind of fits there perfectly. But this is from Chevy, a DVD, and it kind of just talks about their trucks and stuff. I won't go too much into this because this is probably not what you're here to see. But I just want to talk about you get a bag. They hand it to you when you walk in. You can go to every vendor and they give out stuff. This is a cool poster from Chevy. Good wrench. I guess it was an IMAX movie, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just like I guess a movie poster. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was a NASCAR movie, for IMAX, and it says 2007. This one doesn't say IMAX on it, but I think that was in IMAX. And this is gonna make you feel very old. A Circuit City coupon that they gave. These are just kind of random programs, I guess. I haven't looked through this stuff actually since I probably got it, or I probably never looked through it. But I'm sure a lot of it now will make me feel very, very old. I mean, it does have the race event. So the race starts at 3:15 on February 18th. So I think, funny enough, it's gonna be the same day. I think it's the 18th this year. Well, today's what? It might be the same exact day, just different years, 10 years apart. But this just shows some of the stuff in the program. Nextel that doesn't even exist anymore. Not sure if this stuff will be worth money, but I probably should have gloves on. I'm sure there's going to be and this is like, I am not even going to start talking about the race itself. The race was amazing. But this is just stuff that they give you, like I said, when you're walking around. You get there a couple hours. People get there days ahead of time. They camp out. They get an RV. Literally, I mean, you might have heard stories about this, but it's 100% confirmed. I mean, people literally get there like a week ahead of time. They camp out. Sorry, I'm losing my voice and I'm even eating a cough drop. But people do camp out ahead of time. It's a week-long thing, a big event. Obviously, you've probably heard so many stories about it. But it's true. You're literally driving to the event. Like, I think I stayed in Orlando. We did Disney. And then we drove over to Daytona, which is kind of weird because you fly into Daytona, I believe, and then I drove to Orlando, stayed in Disney, did that whole thing. But driving back to Daytona, you see the RVs all over the town. Literally every street, there's RVs everywhere. I guess there's not like a big parking lot that you rent space. People just kind of find parking on any street, and I guess it's socially acceptable that time of year. Or I should say this time of year because, there's RVs everywhere. I wish I had more video or taking photos of it, but there's literally RVs all over the town. I'm sure somebody on YouTube has videos of that. But you heard stories, and it's 100% true. There's literally the whole town for the whole year, for the whole week is people just camping out and stuff like that. Not sure what this is. Oh, AAA. If you're interested in AAA, I don't know what this is. Preview of the first official licensed NASCAR romance series. Okay, if you're interested in, uh, if you're interested in a NASCAR romance, maybe I'll do a separate video for that. But like I said, Harley Quinn too. That's pretty funny. I've never really even looked at this stuff since I've gotten it. I think I just threw it away. I mean, I threw it in the bag or in the attic, which I had to go digging for it today, and it was a pain in the neck. My back is hurting because I was like digging through boxes. I'm like, I know I have this stuff up here somewhere. Oh, if you want to do your taxes this time of year too, it's tax season. Jackson Hewitt. But that's boring stuff. I'm leading up to the actual program itself, but I just wanted to kind of show you the stuff that they hand out. The day of the event, there's a huge parking lot. You walk around. I think there's like even video games that you can, racing video games and stuff like that. And there's cars all over the place in the parking lot. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but it's just kind of like a fake little newspaper, I guess. And like I said, February 18, 2007. I think it's 2018 this year, but the event is pretty cool. I always said I wanted to go back. I mean, it's only been 10 years, and I still have plenty of time to go back, but it's definitely worth it. I mean, it's obviously too late this year to kind of go to it, but I highly recommend. Even if you don't go to Daytona 500 itself in Florida, you should check out a NASCAR event. It's unbelievable. The ticket, February 18th, 2007. So it was really good to see. This was on the finishing line, the starting and finishing line, which is starting and finishing line are actually two different places. If you don't know that, but if you're watching this video, I'm just gonna assume that you know that it happens at two different places. I think I was on the finish line. I think the starting line was down from me a little bit further. So this is the ticket. I just want to kind of give you, if you haven't been to it, and I'm sure you watch it on TV, I mean, nothing I'm going to say is going to be any different from anything you haven't heard. I mean, you might hear stories and you're like, I don't believe it, because I didn't believe it. I mean, when I was in 2007, I was already 27 years old, and I'm a huge hockey, basketball, football fan, college, all that stuff. And I never believed it either. But when you go, you're going to really believe the hype, I guess is the word that people talk about it. The whole, Gentlemen Start Your Engines, the national anthem, the whole Americana of it, like it's pretty awesome. And at the time, all the political stuff wasn't going on as much as it is now. But it definitely is an experience I recommend. I mean, look at this back then. I mean, I don't know how much inflation or the price has gone up, but to be on the finish line for $120, that's not a bad deal. To experience something that like, it would have to be equivalent, obviously, to the Super Bowl or Game 7 of baseball or football. Not football or basketball, or college championship. The experience is just like the crowd, the noise, everything. It was a perfect day. Sun. I guess Florida's hit or miss. I know it's rained on some of them and stuff like that, but it definitely is the experience that you want to do. It definitely should be on everyone's bucket list. If you're, a subscriber to this channel and you know all the sports and stuff and you're a big sports fan, if you have a bucket list, I know people are probably really young, but like it should be something that you can, you should put on your bucket list or definitely try out. So here's the program, and I don't know if it'll say it in here, but kind of just want to give you a little, like I said, story or experience play-by-play. I don't want to crease this because I know that like takes the value out. So I'm hoping that you guys can maybe I can prop it up somehow. Maybe that'll help a little bit because I don't want to try and crease it too much. And I'll try and maybe I can probably pop it up. Oh, I have my 3-point box that I did the video yesterday. I'll try and prop it up somehow. This is probably not going to be the best thing to do. But maybe I'll zoom in a little bit also. Hopefully I won't make a mess. But the experience, you get there and it's just like the whole saying like larger than life. It's definitely true. It's definitely one of those like it's hard to put it into perspective. I guess you would have to kind of be there. But Kelly Clarkson, who was huge at the time, sang the national anthem. They did the jets flying over. But it's just something. And like I said, this is a kind of a tribute sort of in a way that it's coming up next week. I'm gonna probably check it out now that I have it tattooed on my memory, or like a mental note to kind of check it out. I think I will, but it's gonna be a lot of you're only seeing like one side, and maybe I guess I should zoom back out. Maybe that's why. I'll just kind of flip through it real quick so you have an idea what it's like. It's just a lot of advertisements and stories. I to be honest with you, I probably never even read the whole thing, but it was very not overwhelming, but it was a good experience. Some of the things I wanted to talk about also is another myth. I guess it's not really myth, but a lot of the story that I've heard is like definitely like the experience. The cars when the laps are going, if you're in the first couple laps and there's no crashes or anything like that, when the car passes in front of you, it literally goes like this. You don't really even see the car. It passes so fast in front of you. I guess they're going like 200 miles an hour at least. You really don't even see the car. It's just a blur. They're loud. People have headphones, and this is like the craziest thing that I never really knew. And like I said, it's hard to even put the experience into words, but when the cars pass in front of you, you really don't see it. It's just a blur, and then followed by a big roar. I mean, no, they're not going past the speed of sound. That would be ridiculous. But like, the sound, and it's like a blur. You can barely see them. Your eyes can't register how fast they're going. And I was sitting low, pretty close. Not really low, because I know it's not good to sit really low. You don't get to see. I was probably in a perfect seat. It's like in the middle, but down low a little bit, where you can still see the cars going around the track. Because if you're too low, you can't see the cars going around the track. I know if you sit higher, that might be the better experience or better ticket for some people, because you can see the car going around the track. I'm just kind of flipping through BSing or just talking, but there's some couple things I want to just touch on that, like, you've always heard stories about it, or I've always heard stories about it, but it's 100% true. The sound, the engine. Oh, and the funny thing is too, when the cars pass, like I say, it was a blur and it's really loud. And then like 40 seconds later, you see like a pile of trash just getting sucked by the cars. Like whatever trash falls onto the ground, onto the track, you see it like trailing the whole group of cars. It's like pretty funny. I don't know if you ever see that on TV, but like it's a whole, not say pile of trash, but a whole wind of trash goes behind the car after they pass you. It's pretty funny. That's something that I always remember for some reason. It's like you don't remember who wins or any of that. I just remember like the cars were a blur in front of me, and there's like a pile of trash that like from the track, or not trash, it's like dirt or grass or leaves or whatever comes onto the track. And there are RVs that are in the middle of the track also, or on the track, and those are like super expensive, I believe. I think those you have to like pay for like insane amounts if you want to park your RV in the middle of the whole event. But the experience is pretty awesome. Like I said, it's only been about 10 years, and I always say I want to go back, but it is definitely worth it. And I mean, I live in the Northeast, and there's a couple tracks around here, but I think I would want to make it another trip like I did last time, where it's Disney, Universal Studios, and then Daytona 500. Like stay there for the whole week, and then just kind of drive into the event. And you have to go check out the finish. The 2007 finish was like the most insane finish ever. Like, oh, look, the tickets were already on sale for the following year. But yeah, the whole atmosphere and all the stories, like it's. I mean, there are some bad stories about the type of people I go to it, but like any event, it depends on the price of the ticket. And I hate to use money as an example, but certain type of people act better than certain type of people sitting depending where you sit. If you go like you've heard Yankee Stadium, or even the Eagles that just won, like you get tickets that are like $20 tickets. It's a different crowd than people that are sitting in like the $100 tickets. I mean, I hate to say that, but it is what it is. So I was lucky enough to be in the nicer section. Didn't have any bad experience. No rude fans. No drunk. Nobody trying to start fights. There was a road rage incident that happened that night with some people that I heard on the radio. But that is like, as they say, any day in Florida is kind of, that stuff can happen. It just happened to. I don't know if it's necessarily even was like Daytona 500 related, but it definitely did happen. Everybody was really nice, no complaints, like I said. I can't believe like Nextel was so big. I was so like pro Nextel back then too. Nextel was the best service you can get. You had to have like the best credit, the most expensive phones. Then Sprint bought them, and it was like the Nextel Cup Series back then. And I mean, this is pretty awesome. I'll be honest, like I said, this is probably the first time I've really looked through this, and I'm just skimming through it also, to be honest. I probably should have kept a little bit better because it smells like an attic, how an attic would smell. So if I ever sold this or anything, I'm sure, and I probably won't, because like I said, it's definitely should be on your bucket list. But probably should have kept a little bit better, I guess, because it smells a little bit like an attic would smell. Oh, here's a nice advertisement. But I mean, I definitely recommend it. The price of the ticket is going to be really cheap, but the price of the weekend is going to be very expensive. The price of the hotel probably jumps up that time of year, unless you rope a Disney trip into it, and it'd be kind of cool. But I think I pretty much touched on everything I wanted to talk about. If you have any questions about the experience, this is probably like a really bad setup. And like I say, sometimes I just say like, oh, I'm going to make this video, and I don't really think it through. I don't really go through like setting up properly. I probably should have set this up a little bit better. But I mean, that's pretty much it. I showed you the ticket, and I'm looking through this for the first time, to be honest, like I said. Probably not the best view you're getting. But and I don't remember when that whole Ricky Bobby thing came out, but I was big into that movie too when it first came out. It's a pretty funny movie. But like I said, I probably haven't seen much of this stuff at all. Definitely very, very, like, people say it, like, I mean, I've heard stories before and after, and I don't ever want to sound like a know-it-all when people are, like, talking about it, but, I mean, it definitely is a experience that you need to experience for yourself. It definitely is worth it if you can. I can't speak about the other tracks and the other races and stuff like that, but it was a pretty perfect event. Like I said, the weather was really nice. It was pretty good race. The finish, you have to go look at the 2007 NASCAR finish. I mean, I can't even put it into words. It was literally cars crashing, on their roof, sliding over the finish line. And I don't think I took any photos. You know why? I kind of ended up going. I was invited. Um, we made a weekend over, and it was my first. Listen, I'll tell you, people say it all the time. Oh, it's boring. Why are you gonna go to NASCAR? All you do is run around the track. But you have to see it. I didn't know or had any idea how good it was in person. It was like definitely experience. So I wasn't really prepared. I didn't really set out like, oh, I'm gonna take really nice photos. I'm gonna videotape a lot of stuff. And I think back then, in 2007, it was like a big no-no about videotaping stuff at any sporting event. I think it was still pretty like frowned upon, if I'm not mistaken. You could probably take photos, but like now you go to any sporting event and stuff like that, you can record whatever you want. Back then, I think in 2007, you were still pretty much not allowed to do any of that stuff. So I really don't have any photos. But go definitely YouTube search the race and the finish. Like I said before, I forget, Kelly Clarkson did the national anthem. That was really good. I forget who the person was that said, "Gentlemen, start your engines." I think it was a guy who was it Nicolas Cage. I'll have to go back and watch it. It was either Nicolas Cage or I think it was Nicolas Cage. I don't remember. Was like I forget what they call the person that says that. I don't see like the race general or something like that. Oh look, Tide Pods. It's funny. I'm just kidding. It's not Tide Pods. 7-Up. You don't even hear about 7-Up anymore. It's like 7-Up doesn't even advertise anymore. But I mean, I'm kind of just BSing, like I said. But definitely something. I mean, if you have any questions, I mean, it definitely is. A lot of it is some stuff that you hear, and a lot of it is stuff that you don't hear. Like people watch it on TV, oh, it's boring and stuff like that. Yeah, it might not be. And the other thing I wanted to just touch on, the race is what 500 laps. Is it 500 laps? No, it's not 500 laps. I forget how many laps it is. It's 500 miles, I think, but I forget how many laps it is exactly. People watch the opening ceremony, the national anthem, the gentleman start your engine, maybe the first 5 laps, 6 laps, and then people go walk around. People trying to meet other people. You know, you go look for people your age. You go get a drink. You walk around. You take photos. You check out the vendors. Because it's a lot of laps. It's not 500 laps, is it? No, that would be ridiculously. I forget. Is it 250 laps? I don't remember. And I'm sure I'm gonna get so much hate for not remembering how many laps it is. But you know, on TV, if you sit there and watch it for the 2 hours as it is, it's gonna be boring, of course. But when you're there at the race, people watch it and then they go walk around. Like I said, they socialize, do stuff, take photos, and they come back for the middle of the race and then the end of the race. You know, so they're walking around. It's more entertaining. There's more to see. Whereas if you're home, you're on your couch, and I mean, you go in your kitchen and you come back, you're gonna get bored. But it's a whole different ball game, let's say, when you're there in person. So I highly recommend it. So I wanted to kind of just show you my stuff. Here's the ticket again. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll answer it. But like I said, next week is the race, so I'll watch it. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Like I said, shout out to Jim Bay for kind of like reminding me. I'm like, oh yeah, he commented on one of the NASCAR videos, and I made me remind myself that I always wanted to make this video, and now's like the perfect time to put it up. But I'll see you guys later. Thanks.